What up? I'm B and welcome to my channel where we talk about all things true crime and current events. Today we've kind of got a twofer going on because we're going to be talking about ONISION, aka James Jackson, Gregory Jackson, the most hated man on YouTube, essentially. He recently did an interview with Keemstar, and so that's what we're going to be looking at today. And the reason that I say it's a twofer is because yes, this is something that's currently going on, something that a lot of people are talking about. He has a long history of being accused of some not so great things, and people have really been talking about this for a long time, trying to get more attention to the things he's been accused of. And so that's the current events part. The true crime part is that he's being accused of things that, if proven, technically, some of them could get him taken to court potentially. And so basically that's what we're going to be talking about today. If you're not sure who ONISION is, I will be giving you just kind of a brief overview, and if you want something a little bit more in-depth, I did do a video kind of chronicling his history of everything he's being accused of, and kind of talking about why he's been more in kind of the mainstream attention lately, all that. I'll put a card, but basically ONISION is a YouTuber. He's been on the platform, 13 years now. He went viral in the late 2000s, and basically he's been accused of having inappropriate relationships with younger girls. He has an attraction to people who are younger than him, and while it doesn't appear as if he has ever had any sexually inappropriate relationships with these younger girls, he's kind of towing the line here. It's like going to different states where the age of consent is 17 instead of 18, and being very meticulous about making sure that he is following the law, so that way he can't get caught up in accusations of like statutory rape or anything like that. It's very much being meticulous about the laws and just making sure that he hasn't technically broken a rule, or he can't technically be labeled as something, as an undesirable word, because he followed the law. And additionally, not only has he been accused of having these like odd, inappropriate relationships with girls who are quite a bit younger than him, he also has been accused of being very manipulative, using verbally abusive language, just overall being a very kind of controlling person, trying to make people sign contracts, giving people punishments for upsetting him or breaking his rules, stuff like that. So basically, public perception of him is pretty rough. It's definitely not favorable. And late last year, Chris Hansen decided to start doing these interviews with people who know ONISION, who either were friends with him or who have been keeping an eye on him kind of for the past however many years, and calling out this behavior and saying, hey, this is creepy, this is wrong, this isn't okay, and we got to talk about it. And so he started with them, and then he started interviewing people who had relationships with ONISION in the past. But basically that's what really got ONISION and his habits into the mainstream media and into the minds of a lot of people on YouTube, not just those who already knew about him and were dedicated to calling out his creepiness. And so ONISION has been given plenty of opportunities to go on different shows and YouTube channels and defend himself, and he typically asks for money. He asks for a payment in order to go on and talk to these, like, and to be interviewed, basically. He's an odd guy. And so he's historically always said no, or I want this outrageous amount of money to do it. So he hasn't been interviewed. However, he did agree to be interviewed by Keemstar, who has about 5.5 million subscribers on YouTube. His show is called Drama Alert. That's what his channel is called. And he basically talks about drama. Like, he does little like news style segments, and ONISION thought he's the one. Keemstar is controversial in and of himself. He doesn't have a record for being the best ally to women, is what I will say about that. But that's enough background. Like I said, if you want a full in-depth background on Onision, I did make a video about him. It will be linked, and without further ado, let's go ahead and give this interview a listen.
What's up, Trouble Alert Nation? I'm your host, Killer Keemstar. Let's get right into the news! Today, we are interviewing ONISION, the most hated YouTuber. I mean, there was a time about 6 months ago when ONISION would upload videos to his YouTube channel and only get like 2,000 views. But videos exposing ONISION would get 500,000. I mean,
Yeah, that's worth noting. He's got like a hardcore group of supporters and fans, but his channel's been on kind of the downswing for quite a while, and this whole thing has given him quite a bit of attention. It's kind of like a double-edged sword, because if you don't talk about him, then he gets to continue being manipulative and harmful to young women and his romantic partners. But if you do talk about him, then people are more interested and they want to see more about him. And when he posts these fake breakdowns that he has, they all want to watch it. They all want to see what he's doing. He's acting ridiculous. And so it really is kind of a double-edged sword there.
Is this hate mob out there that wants to destroy ONISION, and they're called the anti-O movement. And the reason why they don't like him is because, well, ONISION is so unlikable. I mean, he has been miserable and mean to people for years online. And on top of it, some ex-girlfriends have come out saying that he was abusive emotionally. But the number one thing against ONISION and why people are hating on him so much is because they think he is a groomer. He had this girl, 16 years of age, Sarah, living at his house where he was taking care of her, and then when she turned 18, him and his husband hooked up with her. Here's a little backstory from another YouTuber known as Edwin, where he goes into full detail.
I love Edwin. He seems like such a nice guy and like a genuine guy. I really like him a lot.
Of this whole Sarah situation, so you have the backstory. Rolling.
Sarah was a fan of ONISION and Kai since Sarah was around 12 years old, so when she received a private message from Kai at 14 years old, she was ecstatic. Despite the 6-year difference that Kai acknowledged in their first ever exchange, Kai decided to befriend young Sarah and eventually make jokes about grooming Sarah. And of course, it could be argued that a 20-year-old internet celebrity befriending a 14-year-old fan may not inherently be a bad thing. However, when you're doing that and joking about grooming this young person, that's when it turns questionable.
I'm gonna interrupt this right here. I was wondering where this came from. I saw on Twitter a lot of people calling out Edwin, saying that him saying, you know, oh, a 20-year-old and a 14-year-old like becoming friends might not inherently be a bad thing. They're using that against him, saying that like he would excuse inappropriate behavior in some situations. And I mean, I'm definitely not gonna like speak for Edwin, but when I hear that, that doesn't cross my mind as something inappropriate. I think the dynamics have to be there. Like it has to be a very specific set of situations. But in my experience, like I'm in my 20s, but I do spend some time with girls who are younger because I have friends who have kids. Like I have friends who are older, and so they have kids, and I will like hang out with them sometimes, take them out to get froyo, stuff like that. And so inherently, that's not a bad relationship. I think when it's a stranger kind of connecting, it can be tricky, but here's something that makes it kind of tricky, I guess, if you don't know the whole situation with Kai, ONISION, and Sarah, is that Kai is ONISION's husband. But Kai used to have a female body, present as female, and it went by Lainey. Kai was born in a female body. And so at the time that Kai was going by Lainey and befriended Sarah, Kai was, by all accounts, female. And so I think in that situation, a female 20-year-old becoming friends with a female 14-year-old might not be the best. It might not be the best situation, but it doesn't necessarily mean that there's inherently something wrong with it. It could very much be like a little sister situation. Like, this person looks up to you, you're older, you see something, maybe you see yourself in them, you see your little sister in them, you see somebody that you care about in them, or you see them as a good person, and you want to just kind of have them under your wing. Like, I do think it's weird if you can kind of identify and be like buddy, like, if you're treating them as someone who's kind of your equal in age, that's weird. But I don't think what Edwin's saying here, long story short, I don't think what Edwin is saying here is bad. I don't think it's wrong, and I certainly don't think he meant it in any way of like, we should dismiss any 20-year-old who's friends with a 14-year-old because it's no big deal. That's just kind of my opinion on that. You'll have to let me know what you think, though.
Actually, a lot of bizarre tweets between Kai and Sarah, including one which encouraged people over the age of 18 to hit up Sarah when Sarah was still just 14 years old.
Many of the jokes we made were in reference to people thinking that...
I will say this. I don't know if I said it in my last little spiel. While I don't think there's something inherently wrong with a 20-year-old and a 14-year-old developing some sort of friendship, there was definitely something wrong with the friendship between Kai, who went by Lainey at the time, and Sarah. It's very clear that there was some flirtation going on. There were inappropriate photos sent. It was a completely inappropriate relationship. So I don't know that I said that in my last little comments that I inserted, but I'm saying it now. Their relationship was wrong and it was inappropriate.
Something was going on.
Throughout their friendship, Kai learned that Sarah had a tough situation at home, so shortly after Sarah turned 16, Kai invited Sarah to live with Kai and ONISION.
Yes, I am legally Sarah's guardian right now, currently. Greg is not a legal guardian of Sarah. I am.
This raised a lot of eyebrows, and not just because of the tweets or the age differences, with ONISION being 31, Kai being 22, and Sarah being 16, but also due to ONISION's history with young girls.
There's a 16-year-old living with you. Weren't you dating a 17-year-old like 5 years ago? Yeah, but that's kind of like saying just because you're a chick who's into other chicks, you're going to want to bang every single chick. So one, that's creepy, not into that person.
ONISION would insist that he was not interested in Sarah and pointed out that it would be creepy if he was because of the 15-year age gap between him and Sarah.
Like, I'm twice their age at this point. 7 years, 8 years, 9-year age gap, fine. 15-year age gap, you're about to be able to start calling them daddy for real, so no.
That video was posted in January of 2017, which was just after ONISION and Kai had flown over two other YouTubers, Billy and Ayala. As time went on, Kai would continue to play into the accusation of being inappropriate with Sarah through videos.
Good night.
The strange ongoing joke of Kai having a secret relationship with Sarah finally hit a full stop when Ayala accused Kai and ONISION of grooming Sarah. It kind of made some of those jokes in Kai's videos feel a little bit too real.
It's just nice to connect with people, that's the best thing about technology. You can just connect with people from the comfort of your own bed. Nothing better than that.
ONISION and Kai would both go on to repeatedly deny this accusation of grooming.
Literally the youngest person I know is Sarah, and I have never, ever had a romantic relationship with Sarah.
You guys have this concept of grooming, right? But that requires you have sex with somebody right after they turn 18.
Now, to be fair, that video was posted 2 days before Sarah said that they all slept together for the first time, so technically he wasn't lying about that part. But how about listen to how he proactively tries to deny the accusation by basically contradicting his own definition of grooming.
And the person you guys are talking about has been 18 for a while.
At this point in time, Sarah was actually 18 and 5 months, but ONISION likes to round up to 18 and a half.
She's been 18 for a while, so it's not creepy. Get real. Ooh. I can already tell. We're gonna have some fun conversations.
And apparently that's a while, and that's not right after she turned 18. I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, okay? I apologize if I'm asserting my opinion too much, but I feel like sleeping with someone 5 months after they turn 18 is basically right after they turn 18.
So there is the backstory on this Sarah situation. So we talked to ONISION about Sarah, and we talked to Sarah herself to have some questions for ONISION. We got into it, and well, I don't know. Is ONISION just a mean, horrible person, or is he actually a criminal? Let's find out. Here is that interview. Roll it. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have ONISION on the line.
Great photo, Keemstar, really. You really picked a photo where he's clearly not, like, smiling for the camera. I mean, not that I'm defending ONISION, but, like, it's an interesting choice. Before we do hop into that, one more thing. A lot of people are saying that, well, a lot of the things that he did weren't illegal. You can't take him to jail on things that aren't illegal. And that is correct. A lot of the things he did were not illegal, but that doesn't mean that he's not predatory. It doesn't mean that he didn't groom Sarah. It doesn't mean that he shouldn't be exposed and shouldn't be stopped for the harmful things that he has done. I don't want people to get, like, amped up and excited at the thought of him getting arrested and going to jail, because it's a very big if on certain things for what he could actually be tried for. But I don't want anyone to, like, discredit anything that people are trying to do in exposing him by saying, well, it wasn't illegal. Just wanted to put that out there.
First question for you is, a lot of people said, if I were to interview you, that I would have to pay you thousands and thousands of dollars. So I want to get that right out of the way. Did I pay you for this interview?
No, you didn't.
And you're doing
I didn't request money.
And yeah, that's right, you didn't. And are you doing this out of your free will?
Yes, it's of my free will.
Awesome. Okay, now that that's out of the way, I believe, and this is my opinion, that you are right now the most hated YouTuber. Do you think that's true? And if so, why?
I think I've been that way for a very, very long time, and that's because I have trouble being normal on camera. I have the tendency to blow up my personality or exaggerate my personality for the sake of entertaining people, more often than not.
So why do you go out of your way to make people hate you? Because it's like every video. I mean, this is from 2016 when I started watching you till now. Like every video, it just seems like you're really egging people on. You want people to be mad at you. I mean, that's the impression I've always got. Why?
Well, if you wanted people to like you, you probably wouldn't do what I do, which is kind of obvious in what you said. And that's because you're dealing with a person who doesn't see the value in people wanting to like them or anything like that. My primary focus is just to create whatever I think is funny or interesting and not please people, but rather just make sure I'm doing what I feel is worthwhile, worth saying, or something that's different than what every other content creator may be involving themselves in.
So I'll let him finish his whole answer. But he says he likes doing things that are funny, things that are creative. At one point, ONISION made a video making fun of Eugenia Cooney for her eating disorder. That's funny and creative. That's not, like, insanely damaging and insensitive. That's such a lie of an answer. It's not that he thinks, like, oh, people just don't get my sense of humor. It's how can I enrage people and get attention for it? You know, he did a video talking about Shane Dawson's weight gain, which is, I guess it's in my head right now because Shane Dawson just addressed his weight gain and I reacted to that. But he did this video talking about, like, Shane's not healthy. Look at his figure. Gross. Like, literally going in on Shane completely unprovoked and for no reason. And everyone was pissed. What person at the time in which he made that video, because it was a few years ago, what not normal, What business-minded person would think, I'm gonna create a video attacking one of the most beloved YouTubers at the time and think that people were gonna laugh? Like, what? How do you think that that's going to get you laughs? How do you think that's funny? How do you think that that gets you creativity points? It doesn't. It's gonna make people pissed off because Shane was literally like the most loved YouTuber at the time. You're just gonna make people mad, and you know that. That's such a this dude. I swear he's a liar for hire. I can't.
When these allegations started coming out, and I'm mainly talking about, let's say 5 months ago, Blair White uploaded a video titled "Exposing ONISION Child Grooming," where she interviews Sarah. And Sarah explains that, you know, basically she came to your home, you guys were her like guardians, and then you guys waited till she was 18 and hooked up with her, right? When this story first came out, September 5th, 2019, how come you didn't respond to this like right away? Why did you just keep quiet about this?
I was under threat of being left by my spouse if I said anything.
Okay. So in this scenario, which I think is the main scenario and the main negative points against you, is this allegations of you grooming this girl. How old was Sarah when she first came to your house, and were you actually her guardian?
Why wouldn't you ask more about being under the threat of being left by Kai?
And just kind of explain that briefly.
So first I'd like to establish that it's enormously debunked. I made a 30-minute video just showing how many times Sarah repeatedly said that nothing happened even when she was well into being 18. She said repeatedly that she was not groomed. She even said if anyone was groomed, it was us. And so
because you made her make those
I feel like
videos.
because I know these texts are so authentic, all I would have to do is show them to literally a lawyer or whatever, and they would, you know, I mean, it's really interesting that this person says they turn stuff into the police because any police officer or agent or whatever can simply look.
Okay, that text that they just showed talking about, you know, was I supposed to tell you that I liked you and have the threat of Greg kicking me out, whatever. You cannot blame Sarah for having a crush on Kai. You just can't. Sarah did not groom either of them. She was essentially a child who was under their guardianship at the time. I don't understand how Onision thinks that makes anything look better, because either you two, the two of you, you and Kai, as adults, are vulnerable enough to allow yourself, this is all hypothetical, you guys are vulnerable enough to allow yourself to be groomed by a 16-year-old, and that makes you look real bad, or you're lying on the girl that you groomed to get blame pushed away from you. You are further victimizing this girl who has very openly spoken out about the inappropriate things that your spouse sent to her when she was under the age of 18. She has said that you made her make those videos. She has released footage of herself in between the clips that she ended up putting up on YouTube, where she is crying, breaking down, saying that she doesn't want to make the video, telling people that you didn't groom her. The fact that this man thinks, oh, it has been enormously and widely debunked. Okay. Sarah didn't groom Kai. Sarah didn't groom ONISION. This is a lie, but I'm going to stay calm. I'm going to level out. And we're going to get back into the interview.
Look at her repeatedly saying she was never groomed and repeatedly saying that nothing ever happens, even well into being 18. And they would say,
because y'all groomed her to defend you. And that's what happens when you groom someone, is they do whatever they can to make you happy. They do whatever they can to defend you, to make you look better, to prevent you from being angry at them. That's what happens.
what's up? Why is your story completely contradictory? Why does this make no sense?
Right, but didn't you upload a video saying that you did in fact, have sex with her when she was 18 and 5 months, I believe?
I don't know if I said 18 and 5 months, but the point is that Sarah said that even well into being 18, we did not have sex. She was saying 18 and 5 months. In her text, she said, she was repeatedly pointing out that Kai had rejected her, like over and over and over again. And Sarah repeatedly said how badly she wanted to be with Kai in these texts. And Kai multiple times expressed to me that when he thought of being with Sarah, he felt like vomiting because it was such a uncomfortable situation for him. So
Kai sent Sarah nude photos when Sarah was still underage.
Again, when you have these receipts of somebody saying this to you, and you have a video of them saying on camera, clearly not under duress, clearly completely calm and composed, that nothing ever happened, and they're an adult when they're saying this, that nothing ever happened with Kai, and that Kai's completely innocent, Kai's always been appropriate, and then them going around saying, completely contradictory things. You're sitting here with a person who couldn't possibly win a case against somebody except for, the mob, who doesn't have a law degree, who doesn't actually understand the legal system. So it's a pretty uphill battle for anyone going into this, just because you're dealing with a bunch of people who, instead of going to the police initially, instead of handling this with a lawyer, they went to the masses and clout chased and started GoFundMes and did all these nonsensical things.
But
God, it's not clout chasing. Gosh, who would want to be known for being for being a victim of abuse? Yes, there is strength and grace, and you are extremely, I'm trying to think of the right word, as a survivor, you're incredible. If you're a survivor, you should absolutely be proud. But I don't think anyone wakes up and says, I want to be known for being manipulated by this person. I just don't think that they do. I think, if anything, they would, I don't know, make it look like they got to reject you and you were a weak person. They would make you look bad in a way that doesn't make you look powerful. Because being an abuser makes you look like you're in control. You had control over them. You had a very big influence in their lives. And I don't think anyone wants to give you that illusion of power, but they do, because at the time you did have that power over them and you had that strength and that influence and that pull. And it's just ridiculous to me that I guess it's not ridiculous to me that he's doing this, but I want people to know, I want you to know, if you are a survivor of abuse, we're still gonna believe you if you don't go to the police right away. There are thousands of reasons that people don't report abuse right away, and while I do think that abusers should be brought to justice, other people don't have the right to judge you for how you choose to handle your trauma. And just, if you don't report right away, you're not a liar for reporting when you do. You're not a bad person. You're not a clout chaser. You are just processing it in the way that is best for you. And I support you, because it's got to be an extremely difficult thing to process and go through. And I don't want what ONISION says to influence the way people see those those survivors who report a little bit differently than others, or than the media would expect us to see them report.
Don't you understand how the internet, right, would just take like the core and I would say the surface information about this and see you as the villain? I mean, this girl who's underage stays at your house. There's videos of you and your husband claiming that you are her guardian, or I think it was just your husband, not you. And then you slept with her after she turned 18. Do you see like how the internet would see this as grooming?
The problem is that everyone and all information points to this person being rejected even well into being 18. So when people push the grooming agenda, it doesn't make any sense because there has to be some evidence that this person was actually prepared for a sexual relationship as a minor. And there's literally no evidence pointing to that. As far as actually being a guardian, I don't know of any evidence that there was a guardian, or I should say people like accused of being adopted parents or foster parents or anything like that. I don't know of a single signed document by myself or my spouse that there was any guardian status. I know.
Okay. I want to point something out linguistically. I have a lot of problems with what he just said, but in the interest of not making this video a million years long, I just want to point out something interesting about what he just said. He said, let me play it again so we can get the full context of it.
People like accused of being adopted parents or foster parents or anything like that. I don't know of a single signed document.
Okay, this is the actual part. I don't know of a single signed document
By myself or my spouse.
That there was any
guardian status. I know that the other person, Sarah's mom, had signed a document saying that we had the right.
Okay. I don't know of a single document that was signed by myself or my spouse for guardian status. Something along those lines. So when he phrases it like that, the way that I would phrase it if I was, for some reason, in a similar situation is there was no guardianship agreement. I never initiated a guardianship agreement, neither did my spouse. We never agreed to be her guardians. Something along those lines of directly saying, I did not do this, I did not initiate this, I did not sign these documents, nothing. The way he's phrasing it basically says, well, no one's been able to prove that we signed guardianship documents. That's what it is. It's very much kind of a removed response because it's being dishonest. It's a lie. When you say I didn't do this, that is so much more powerful and so much more kind of like you're taking this firsthand. You're saying like, I'm hearing you. I'm understanding what you're asking. I did not do this. I have no responsibility for this, whatever. By saying there are no documents, I've not seen any documents, that's removing yourself from the situation, removing any responsibility, literally distancing yourself from the accusation as opposed to head on addressing it. And I think that a lot of his language is like that. It's like, well, no one's been able to prove it. So as opposed to like, I didn't do something, where's the evidence? I haven't seen any evidence of it. And so much of his language is like that. And if you listen to it, you'll be able to pick up on it if that's what you're looking for. If you're like trying to pay attention to it, it's super easy to find.
Right to, make medical decisions for her and whatnot like that.
Right.
But I don't know of any actual proof, I don't have any recollection.
I don't know of any proof
that anything was signed on my part to actually accept that role. And it was consistently a joke in our house about it, but no one.
Then why did Lainey say, when Kai was identifying as Lainey, why did Lainey say, I have guardianship over Sarah? Lainey said, like, Greg doesn't, Onision, you don't, but I have guardianship. You don't know that your spouse has guardianship over another human being, a living person in your house?
Was actually acting like a parent, and Sarah was around us for a total of 10 months off and on over 2 years. So that doesn't really sound like a guardian. It sounds like somebody that you hang out with occasionally.
So there is a video of Kai saying that, you know, that she is the legal guardian, right? I don't know if those are the exact terms. I don't have that footage right here, but I'm going to play it right now. Roll it.
Greg is not a legal guardian of Sarah. I am.
In that video, is that a joke? Do you know the video that I'm referring to?
It's well, yeah, no, I don't at all, actually.
I'm sorry, I don't have it right here for you to look at it, but there is a video. I've seen it.
Yeah, that's fine. It's difficult when you're speaking for other people. It's really difficult, like when I'm sitting here trying to talk about what.
This is a fact, though. This is a matter of a fact. Not did Kai feel like they were. Not did Kai. I'm sorry. It is confusing because at the time Kai was Lainey, but not like did Kai feel that they were Sarah's guardian? Was Kai Sarah's guardian? Legally, were you the guardians of this person? It's a yes or no question. You're not interpreting how Kai felt. It is literally a matter of the law, of like a factual thing. Did Kai have guardianship of Sarah at the time? I find it extremely unlikely that you wouldn't know that your spouse has taken guardianship of another living human person. It just doesn't seem doesn't seem likely to me. But hey,
Kai is or is not. But the point is that there's a huge flight records and all that. There's no actual parental indications or anything like that we were ever in a parental status. So someone saying that, you know, that's on them to defend themselves. I can't really speak for Kai.
your spouse said it.
But what I can say is that Kai.
So that was the first part, apparently, of the interview. I did find it extremely interesting that this was only 15 minutes long. I know he did an interview with Romeo Lacoste that was like 50. So it definitely surprised me that that's how short this was. But it makes sense that there's going to be an even longer interview coming out. So when that comes out, this video will be up. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of this interview and if you think that I should react to part 2 as well, and share my thoughts on what all happens with that one. We can watch it together if that's what you would like. Leave me a comment letting me know if I should do that. And while you're doing that, if you would consider liking this video or subscribing to my channel, that would be incredible. And if you have subscribed already, thank you so much. I love being able to just sit here, hang out with you, and talk about whatever. And with all that being said, I'm going to go ahead and let you go. Thank you so much for watching. Please be kind to people, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.